Yeah, there's really like no one as famous as this couple right now.
Where will their celebrity wedding take place?
It's just unprecedented and difficult to try to figure out what would be the most logical place logistically in our little tiny state. I hope that Rhode Islanders are chill and don't crowd around the house during the wedding.
I'd like to think we're chill.
Yeah, don't bet on that. Welcome in and thanks for joining us on this Lively. I'm Jim Hummel, joined this time by Steph Machado from the Boston Globe's Rhode Island Bureau and Antonia Noori Farzan from the Providence Journal. From the moment Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce announced their engagement last month, speculation immediately turned to where will their celebrity wedding take place? And from Westerly to Block Island to Newport, many asked, why not Rhode Island? Here's our resident Swiftie, maybe Swiftie and Swiftie Jr.
I defer to the expert.
All right. Why not Rhode Island?
Listen, I mean, I think Rhode Island is a great place to have any event, right? It's a coastal, beautiful seaside. I did not really think that she would get married here only because I thought it was so obvious and they would try to go somewhere a little bit more discreet.
Some European village
exactly.
out of the public eye.
Exactly.
Right?
But Page Six reported that she was getting married in Rhode Island. Who knows if that is true? It's obviously unconfirmed. It was enough for me to make a few calls one afternoon to wedding planners and venues to just try to get a sense of like what would it actually take.
Was that your favorite story of the month? Be honest.
No, listen, I'm a fan of her music, but you guys know, like 99% of the time I do very serious journalism. This was out of my usual beat, but it was fun. It was fun to call people about it. And I guess the general sense I got from everyone I talked to in the wedding industry was it has to happen at a private residence. So whether that's her house in Watch Hill or some other billionaire lends her their mansion, it would be so logistically difficult to do it at a public wedding venue. Of course, they would buy out the whole hotel or whatever. But just being able to control all the different staff that would know about it and having it not leak and just the security and the safety. And listen, as much as it's fun to speculate about it, like I hope that no one finds out where and when it's happening ahead of time so that they can just have a private wedding and not deal with all the crowds.
Yeah, and I will say there is a serious local journalism aspect in the logistics and the security and how do you do this? I mean, it's really fascinating to think through, and I can imagine with her house in Watch Hill, imagine how many fishermen are going to be running out their boats and taking, paparazzi offshore to get photos with telephoto lenses. Do you have a Coast Guard presence offshore? There's a lot to think through. I mean, Watch Hill, there's only one way in and one way out, so that is kind of a huge quality of life issue for anyone who lives there if they're dealing with that and don't just rent out their houses.
And there's really not a lot of parking in Westerly, and I assume there would need to be some, maybe if it was at her house, there would need to be some sort of road closures.
Totally.
There's also, and you write about shore access, there is a public beach in front of her house. Her house is very visible, and there is a public access way right next to her house. So I don't know, do you think they can close the public beach?
So interestingly, my colleague Paul Parker did a story where he interviewed the town manager about what the logistics would look like. And I recall that I think they were saying just doing kind of a temporary closure of that area. What the CRC would say about that, I don't know. But I think, when there are security reasons for a short period of time, you can usually kind of get away with that. Because they mentioned, I think, in that story, a whole really long list of streets that would be totally off limits to the public. So similarly, those are public right-of-ways, but you can sometimes shut them down.
And then I wonder when and how will they announce the road closures? Because as soon as they do, it will be very obvious. Okay, the wedding's happening. Yeah. So I assume they will have to announce those publicly in some way, especially if it's in the summer when there are so many people going down there to that beach. So I'm just, I think about, you guys know who Jack Antonoff is. He's like Taylor Swift's producer. He's also, I think, the lead singer of a band, but he's most famous for being
nobody knows about that band.
For his the Bleachers. He's most known for his connection to Taylor Swift. So he had just like a regular wedding in New Jersey, and she was a guest. And people found out that she was at this wedding venue just as a guest and started crowding outside. I thought it was really embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, blocking the streets, like huge crowd formed. And so I just kind of felt bad for them that they were just trying to have a wedding. And there's obviously a lot of security concerns. She was seen going to a Chiefs game, like blocked by a screen. So, I hope that Rhode Islanders are chill and don't crowd around the house during the
don't-
wedding.
I'd like to think we're chill.
Yeah, don't bet on that.
But how many people are going to drive here from?
Well, the tourists, right?
Yeah.
There might be some tourists that show up from somewhere
Well,
else.
and the airspace,
Yeah.
so you looked at Westerly, Block Island,
Yes.
potentially Newport. So what works in Westerly's favor is if you were going to do her house and the ocean house.
Yes.
They're close, big enough, but again, you got to kind of seal off all of Watch Hill.
The ocean house is the perfect place for her guests to stay, I think. Even
But does
if
she
the
want to
wedding
do
is
it
at
because
her
Olivia
house.
Culpo did it? She's like,
Well, no, I
it's
think-
been there, done that.
But she could do the wedding at her house. She doesn't have
Right.
to do the wedding at the ocean house. But I
Right.
think it's just a logical place for her guests to stay. It's really, really close by. The ocean house did not comment for my story,
We would not want to divulge
which I
privacy.
noted.
Yeah, there was a little bit of an attitude to that sentence too. So Block Island, even tougher logistics, right?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you sort of that little bit more like far off privacy element. I mean, people will literally have to take a boat if
You have
they
to
want
buy out the island.
If they want to go
I
stalk
think
your
that's a
wedding.
great idea.
That
I
would
think
be
if you're
fun.
if I'm
You're
Taylor
Miss
Swift,
Block Island. Tell
did you
me
get
what
married
the
on Block
logistics
Island?
are.
honeymoon Block Island.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
if
there you
I'm
go.
Taylor Swift, I'm getting an island that has like one house on it or a couple houses on it, like renting out like one of the Elizabeth Islands, right? An island that does not have ferry, that does not have mass transport to it, and getting everyone there by boat.
I did learn in my reporting that the runway at the Block Island Airport is not long enough
Yes.
for a private jet as large as Taylor's and probably people who are coming as guests. So perhaps they'd have to go to Westerly, get a puddle jumper, I don't know. But the Westerly Airport is large enough.
I have been told by people on Block Island that what has saved Block Island from being another Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket is no
Is
private
the
jets
airport.
and no golf courses.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so
fact.
interesting.
Was the paparazzi at your honeymoon too?
Yes.
Did you see any
Famously, yeah.
overhead? And then Newport.
Yeah, I mean, I think Newport, while it is a great place to get married, and Jennifer Lawrence got married at the Belcourt mansion there and did manage to keep it mostly under wraps. And there's an anecdote in my story that there was a fake Jennifer Lawrence dressed
That
as
was a
a
great
bride, and they put her in a card and sent her to a different mansion just to sort of throw
Decoy.
off the paparazzi. And I'm sure
Did they talk to the Secret Service about logistics on that or what?
I don't know.
They bring in the beast.
I think it must be standard. I'm sure there will be a decoy Taylor Swift somewhere. But they did manage to keep it mostly under wraps until the day, and then the paparazzi started showing up. So it's not impossible to do it in Newport. I just think it's so compact and there's so many tourists that it would really be hard not to be spotted. And all if she's having a lot of guests, the celebrity guests would all be spotted, and it would kind of turn into a circus. A lot of the venues there were saying, listen, we'd love for her to get married here. But even you buy out the Castle Hill Inn for the weekend, and then the restaurant's closed, people are going to start saying, oh, what's happening?
Of
Is it the
course,
wedding?
yeah.
Is it the wedding? So I think Newport would be logistically difficult.
Yeah, I thought everything in Newport would be booked out, so I loved in your story the detail, I think, was the Chandler was like, oh, we'll make room for her. We'll make space.
We'll
Like, they're
sit
willing
in
to
the
throw
deck.
other people's
They were
weddings
like,
aside.
we'll open another weekend.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
they had a famous NBA player got married in Newport, and then all of a sudden you see Steph Curry showing up, you see LeBron, you see a lot of the stars, and they don't really mind it. But I mean, if you're really trying to control things, I think Newport is potentially a challenge.
Yeah, there's really no one as famous as this couple
Yeah.
right now. And so in terms of security and safety, I don't even know. There's nothing to compare it to. There's not
Totally.
another wedding that's this big. We can talk about Olivia Culpo and these other big weddings that have happened, but she's the biggest there is. So I think it's just unprecedented and difficult to try to figure out what would be the most logical place logistically in our little tiny state.
Totally, yeah.
Isn't the other wild card that Travis Kelce plays for an NFL team now? We don't know if he's going to retire, but there's a window too
Right.
because of training camp, and he's got to go to training camp in July. So do you do it in the spring? And
That's everyone I talk to is thinking it'll probably happen in the spring. Again, if he retires, then I guess it doesn't matter. But they seem like they're in love and want to get married quickly. So
all right, no pressure, but we're relying on you to get the scoop on this. You're going to beat Page Six and everybody else because you're right here in their backyard.
well,
Are you up to the challenge?
I'm up to I was already thinking about where am I going to park in Westerly for this,
They'll
for this
fly you in.
wedding.
Take the train.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not the paparazzi, but I think there will be a story to cover, whether it's the people gathered, the road closures, the intrigue for sure. So we'll
All
see.
right. Steph, thank you for joining us for this lively segment. Antonia, good to see you again. And thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Go tell us what you think in the comments section below the video.